What do you like most about your job?
I love dealing with people in different countries. I love that fact. I mean, I'm dealing with like 40 different nationalities, countries, ethnic backgrounds. And when you're doing that and you have a common goal, it's really great. I mean, for example, we're dealing in Pakistan, which are countries in the Middle East. My family was originally from Iraq, so we have, I'm going to Dubai, I'm dealing in India where I realize that I have family connections in India. It just makes it so fun to deal with people all over the world.
Today, I'm here with Danny Mukamal, and before we get started, Danny, I really want to thank you for coming and volunteering your time in support of CareerRoad. It means a lot, not only to me, but everyone else at CareerRoad, that you're supporting our mission of getting free career advice to young adults all across the nation and even the world.
Great to be here.
Fantastic. So let's just get right into it. So you're in the healthcare industry, correct?
Yes, I am.
So can you just tell me about your job and what your job includes?
My job typically includes coordinating the manufacture and then the marketing and distribution of pharmaceuticals, and it involves coordinating with people on different time zones. We have manufacturing in countries like India that are on several hours ahead, and customer base in Latin America that may be as far as a few hours behind. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of work in terms of planning, both for new products, new development, new markets, new customers, and managing a lot of people that work for us directly and then indirectly, getting those people to all work together toward your goal, even though everybody has their own interests, their own objectives, getting them to work toward your goals, so that you can achieve and have the operations and run smoothly. We sell a lot of products, many SKUs. The timing of orders and the order management is a big part of the business. Maintaining stock so that you don't lose the confidence of a patient or the doctors, really important.
So what is your actual title?
I'm the vice president. I started 10 years into a family business that my father started at a very early stage in 1992, and I joined in 2002. I saw an opportunity to do something different from where we were as a company in 2002.
What was it like in the early stages?
It was difficult because the structure really wasn't well defined. We didn't have a great staff or a great team. That wasn't something that my dad was that good at developing. We had some customers, and we had a business that was primarily U.S.-based pharmaceuticals, as well as we were repping third-party brands for non-U.S. companies who wanted to be in the market. So it was very challenging early on because, if you don't have a team, you don't really have much.
So what's a typical day like as a vice president?
A lot of WhatsApp calls, because people use that as a medium to to reach you. Usually a few Zoom or Teams calls a day, which the video calling has made. I wouldn't say that it's eliminated the need for travel and direct contact, but it definitely helps when you see somebody, through video. It helps create buy-in. So that's something that's really changed for the better. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of email, because I work remotely entirely. And even if I worked in our central office in Puerto Rico where the admin is done, there's over 50 suppliers, over 50 customers. There's subsidiary companies that we have that need to be managed. And unfortunately, the only median to achieving our objectives is really primarily through email, and managing that information flow is just one of the biggest challenges to the job, because it's almost overwhelming. It's hundreds and hundreds of messages and making sure the right people are on board.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you, I mean, given that your business is international and you live in the United States, I mean, how do you really go about managing your employees and managing the business, even though you're not international?
That's a good question. Really, you have to have a good manager in each location that really can identify talent. That talent identification is key. Somebody that's willing to cut bait when it's time to cut bait, something that I was never entirely that comfortable with, but have gotten more comfortable with it. But having a key manager in each location that can really help you get to where you need to go and to find the right people to work for you.
So how do you find the right people? And also, once you do find the right people, how are you making sure you maintain a strong relationship with them so you can make sure that everything is going as planned?
Yeah, so a lot of people that are working with us are people that we've been introduced through other people that we work with. So that is the key. So for example, the head of the Caribbean, non-Spanish speaking Caribbean, was a referral from the general manager in Dominican Republic. The head of the India office was somebody that came across our desk through other people in India that we were working with. A key person in our business is actually my cousin, who obviously came in through relationship I had in identifying a key need for the business and matching a strong suit with somebody else that had those skills. So really the most important thing is, just constantly communicating with your team and asking them, listening to what they have to say, both in terms of opportunities and people that they're interacting with, to see, if you can at least keep a Rolodex of people that you could potentially work with.
What do you like most about your jobs?
I love dealing with people in different countries. I love that fact. I mean, I'm dealing with like 40 different nationalities, countries, ethnic backgrounds. And when you're doing that and you have a common goal, it's really great. I mean, for example, we're dealing in Pakistan, which are countries in the Middle East. My family was originally from Iraq. So we have, I'm going to Dubai. I'm dealing in India, where I realize that I have family connections in India. It just makes it so fun to deal with people all over the world. I'm doing business in Cuba through an OFAC license that we have. And that is a country that a lot of people are very interested in understanding better. I have been going there for 20 years. And so that is like a fun, just fun to be in places that are difficult that a lot of people don't go to. I go to Haiti. That is not a country that is, had a great history. But doing that really is, I would say, number one. Number two would be, I was involved in HIV very early on. And when I first entered, we were dealing in products that, let people have a reasonable life, but they had visible effects of having HIV, They could pass it on easily. They still had life-altering side, impacts from the medicines and from HIV. And I got involved with a medicine that basically effectively turned it into a chronic disease that you could live with really no visible effects, and bringing that to countries which were third world countries really was something that I look back on and really enjoyed doing. I love the business development. So working on things, identifying things that you want to have, like for example, now we were first to market in the Caribbean with products like levothyroxine, which is a product that's pretty common for thyroid and making a big difference there. We were first in the market with a product called Jardiance, which we have developed a branded generic, which we're making accessible in countries that, wouldn't have access to it otherwise. We're selling a big seller of human insulins, which are obviously a very big, important part of anybody with diabetes type 1. We have introduced recently an Ozempic generic product, which we're marketing under our brand that's helping people lose weight. So that is another aspect that I love about the business. So
yeah, so
it's always something to look ahead.
I want to ask, because you said that one of your favorite parts is traveling and like engaging with all the people international. Is there ever a significant language barrier between you and someone else?
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say most people that I deal with speak English. So it isn't such a big barrier, but clearly my having grown up in, I spent 5 years in Puerto Rico, and the Spanish that I know is very key for the Latin American countries. I don't really have a need to know any other languages really to get by. It would be nice if I did, but it hasn't been that important for me. So for example, we have an office in China. I don't really need to speak Mandarin for me to get by.
So was your drive to help people a big part of the reason why you wanted to enter the healthcare industry?
I don't think that was the reason, honestly. I think that the reason I wanted to I got into the healthcare industry, honestly, was I like anybody that's young and was just looking for where my opportunities were. And I wanted to do something where I had control over what my career trajectory would be, what my income would be, and when you work for somebody else, there's a lot of things that just aren't in your control. Initially, I started working for other companies. I worked in accounting for a CPA firm. I worked for a management consulting company doing different consulting and working in different industries. But I wanted to do something that would be mine and that I could pass on to the next generation or impact other people. And I had the incredible opportunity to come into a business which I knew wouldn't take that much to get it to the next level. It's one thing to have the skill set to start a business, because that is a really difficult thing. A lot of businesses fail. So when you start with something that's already established, albeit it's very small, it is a lot easier, right? So that's where my opportunity was. I was exposed to the pharmaceutical industry because my father worked for a major pharmaceutical company. And so I met a lot of medical reps, and I was around product launches, around cholesterol drugs and hypertension. And I always was fascinated with it and the relationships with physicians. All that was interesting to me. But if I had an opportunity in something else that was a different path that I felt like I could do equally well with and make an impact in, I would have gone in that direction. So it wasn't so much time. Now that I'm in it, I love the side benefits. I love the fact that if I have an employee that's heavily overweight, I can help that person lose weight.
Yeah.
Right? I love that. I love the fact that I've helped a lot of my friends that needed to source medicines. I love being able to do that, right? I don't have a lot of time to volunteer, but I have made a difference in people's lives by virtue of what our skill set is, which is really valuable because in the United States, the cost of medicine is so high, right? And so I'm able to source either the generic medicines that we make, which we sell under our own brands, which is valuable in the sense of we're building intellectual property. But I also have access to brand medicines sourced from other countries. So unlike, buying jewelry or a watch where the brand really typically sells for a similar price, there might be small differences, but it's not that big. When you deal in medicine, unfortunately, in the U.S., we pay you typically more than any other country. And so why
do you think that is, though?
I think it is because a lot of countries do what's in their best interests, and it has very minimal impact on the market, right? So Guatemala can decide that they're not going to adhere to patent law, and there's no impact. But when you add it all up, there is all these countries, there is an impact. And in the U.S., we, have a free market system, and it's really hard to define what the price should be. And unfortunately, we're sort of subsidizing these other countries that individually are small, but collectively have an impact on what the pricing should be. So unfortunately, in the U.S., we really, really, I would say, in many cases of brand medicine, you would be able to source that. I found for as much as 30% of the total, so 70% less. So if something's costing you 100, I should be able to find it for 30 in another country.
That's crazy.
Right. So it makes a big difference. It's somebody that doesn't have the option. They aren't even aware that they can source these things, albeit sometimes it involves, travel to obtain it. But medicines are getting more and more expensive because the medicines have become much more targeted. So, for every 10 medicines that a very big population would take, there are many medicines that are for a very specific subset of people. And the development cost for a product that 10 people take versus 100 is the same typically, and therefore it's got to be spread over a smaller number of people. So medicines have gotten better because they're more targeted, but they're going to get more expensive. And they're coming out for diseases that are life-threatening diseases. Like if somebody comes out with an Alzheimer's cure, what should the price be of that medicine?
Exactly.
Right? You're basically have no life if as you get into an advanced stage. If someone develops an ALS medicine, what should the price be? It's a death sentence and a painful one. So these are hard things to define. It's not like a hypertension medicine or a diabetes medicine where there are so many medicines in the pool, right? So it's a very difficult thing. One of the complexities of this industry, for sure.
Can you tell me about what schooling you went through?
So I went to college at the University of Michigan, got a bachelor's in business. Proudly wear my Michigan watch. And I studied finance and accounting. I then went to work for 3 years, and then I went to for an MBA at UCLA. I think it's important to go to work for a while before you go for an MBA because it is an opportunity to switch, to reinvent yourself. You wouldn't believe 1 year into a job, first job, you're 22, going to work. You go to a career counselor because you want to do something else, and they're like, "Oh no, you're this." Well, I've only been doing it for a year, like so you get pegged into something very quickly, and your MBA is or your graduate degree is your sort of chance to redirect and say, "No, I'm this," and rebrand yourself as something else. You only get that opportunity once, so it doesn't make sense to do it until you've had at least a few years of work experience. I think it's also important for anybody who was thinking of going into a family business like mine, or a business that is somehow connected to relatives or friends or whatever, is to just do something for somebody else first, so you really have that basis of comparison, and so that you have opportunity to know what it's like to work with other people, for other people, and really can appreciate what it is you have the opportunity to work on for yourself. So,
what skills and qualities would you say are essential for success in your field?
I would say really data analysis, I would say, is really important component. Being somebody that motivates other people and encourages them to take initiatives and to feel like they're part of the team. It's very hard to get people, especially people, there are a lot of people that work for you, but at the same time, there's also people indirectly that work with you that, it's hard to motivate to have their focus be on your business because they have their own business, right? So that dealing with that is really important, because you need not only your own people, but you need your partners to work toward your agenda, and that is very difficult when they have their own agenda.
So, Danny, I know your career path wasn't all that linear, but for someone who knows that they want to enter the business aspect of healthcare, what would you say the best path is for them to take?
Yeah, a lot of different avenues that you can take. You can go work for a pharmaceutical company as a medical rep to start, which teaches you a lot about how the promotion is driven. You can go into equity research for a investment bank to understand the healthcare industry, which really gives you a good background into a broader construct of pharmaceuticals. And you could take an opportunity working for a private company that is looking to hire somebody in business analysis. A lot of people that work for me now in management positions started doing admin or something in regulatory, but they showed that they were capable. I think that in any business, it's just being capable is more important than the experience, because, once you're capable and you show aptitude, if you come in the door for something even minor, maybe it's not something that you're in love with, they'll find a room for you because it's just very hard to find good people. So I would be less concerned with what exactly my first role is, and more concerned with, is there a potential for me to parlay this into something else?
Definitely. And Danny, I know you've been given a lot of really great advice throughout this interview, but I want to finally ask you, what advice do you want to leave with any young adults watching this interview?
Yeah, just take advantage of your opportunities, and don't be so fixated on or myopic in terms of, I have to do this one thing. Your first job doesn't have to be 100% what you've been dying to do your whole life, but it should be somewhere where you feel like you're going to be around good people, and if you show aptitude and you show hard work and you're capable, could lead to other things, both in terms of meeting the people that you're going to come across and meet, not even just for your employer itself, but you're going to interact with customers, suppliers, different people who you have no idea what that might lead to. That's why being an entrepreneur, just starting, is the hardest thing, which I can't take credit for. But you just have no idea once you're in the game what that is going to lead to. I wouldn't have imagined what it led to for me. But by virtue of being in, if you're sitting on the sidelines, you can't do, and waiting for the perfect thing, you can't do anything, right? Nothing is just going to come to you, right? But if you're in the game, even if it's not exactly what you want to do and it's what you always dreamed of, if it at least is the right opportunity, it will lead you to other things. That's really what I would recommend, is just don't be too choosy.
Danny, again, thank you so much for volunteering your time in support of CareerRoad. It really means a lot. You had some really great advice and a really cool story, and I hope that young adults all across the world end up watching this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great.